In getting this off-grid goat system going, we're using a very simple model. First off, we're going to test everything inside the market garden here. And we're choosing a bottom field where there's still some pick and some grass. But goats don't typically eat pick and grass. We'll have to feed them hay. We'll have to feed them other materials. But the main thing we're going to have here, and by the way, I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead, and I'm doing this in partnership with the Sustainable Homestead Institute. Main thing we got here is a couple of buckets for minerals or feed, a watering trough that the top's been cut off of it so that the goats don't get their horns caught in it, an IBC tote that will be our water reserve because we have to bring water in. Likely we're going to bring water in on the back of a truck. Here we don't have to. We have hoses up the hill because there's the chicken system right there. But it's got one of these little connectors on it. So we can run it down to a garden hose and then use a float, or somebody will turn it on and fill this water tank up every morning. The goats still need to be checked on. The fact that they're off grid means that we're using solar chargers. We're using what's called a head tank. This is a head tank. And then we're going to be hauling the water in. Now, initially, we're not going to haul the water in because we're taking care of living animals. And so just like the chickens here have water coming in to their header tank, which, by the way, this model and this model are the same, except the goats are not on a wagon. The key is that we can pull into this area. See how it was designed with these access points all around it? The key is that we can pull in, set up the fence, and then have the goats up and running quickly. So I'm going to go pick up the fence and bring it down here and just set up an initial staging. We want to make sure that before we fill the tank up, that it's in a place where it can get better access. I personally would like to have the tank up on a pallet and then that on top of a skid so that we can drain it completely, drag the skid to the next location and set the water up. Or otherwise, we're going to move the goats around the water itself. And the tank itself, those get drained out and dragged to the next location. It would be nice if those were on a skid. I'm going to look at that. We're also building a shelter that's going to be on a skid. Now, why is everything on skids? Well, because once I finish my apprenticeship and I'm out on my own property, or I'm out on a piece of property that I'm managing for somebody else, I will actually be covering a lot of acreage. And so we want to be able to move the containers to where we need them. Now, eventually there might be an IBC tote every so many places in the woods. That tote will get filled up. Maybe we'll have a line on the ground that can fill it up. But basically, I'll either use a trailer behind an ATV, or I'll use the truck, depending on how access is, to get the materials from place to place. Now, how many goats can stay in this area if it's fenced in? Well, we're not going to put too many goats in this area because it's not very big. And then we got to feed them by hand. And so somebody's got to come out here and feed them. So we're going to feed the goats. We're going to put some of the goats here to get used to the fence, get used to the moving, kind of get an idea how much time before they get the soil eaten down. And here, we don't mind if it gets eaten down to bare. See all that biomass there, the grass is falling over. There's some corn in there. There's some few things that we don't mind if they kick those up and eat that stuff and really tear up the area, because what we're going for is a reset to try to get a lot of seeds out. And so this is our getting started. By the way, there's a link in the description below where you can get the full off-grid goat course. Includes material lists, includes some of the designs that we're using. And again, we're trying to make this so simple that somebody can set this up in an area that does have limited resources. Set this up in an area that has to be mobile because maybe it's not your land. Set this up in an area where it can be taken down readily and moved to the next location. Because again, we want to create sustainable and prosperous solutions for regenerative and regional agricultural needs. Again, this is kind of the start of our off-grid goat program. Click the link below. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we're going to continue this series as we build a mobile off-grid goat system that can be used for starting new land, or just expanding your system with minimal resources, or even just getting started like I'm doing. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. Ask your questions at www.prosperityhomestead.org.